Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have serial entrepreneur, real estate developer, engineer, Harvard Business School alumnus, global operationer, leader, philanthropist, digital content creator, Shaikh. Rich, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Dylan.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show here. I always like to start off at the top by asking guests how they got into the real estate space.
Hey, thanks, Dylan. So first of all, my base is engineering and operation management. So I did, operation management for about 19 years or so, 20 years. And then after that, 2015, I started real estate development. For the last, I'll say 15 years, I've been doing real estate development. So I buy raw land, go all the way to developing and building luxury homes and assisted livings. So that's kind of what I do.
Now, when I talk with engineers, I find it interesting because there two things are happening. First, for younger engineers, I think there's some job security, but they're also seeing that maybe there's not as much job security as they thought, although there still is that job security. And then number two is that they realize, well, how can I build and scale a business that isn't going to maybe take away completely from my time in engineering? Now, granted, that's not always possible with real estate because sometimes it's very time intensive, but other times you can build not necessarily a completely passive, but a semi-passive real estate business. You mentioned, these using your engineering background to do development, so that's pretty intensive. When you were looking at getting into real estate, why did you, lean that route instead of maybe, single family fix and flips or wholesale or all the other options that you could get into real estate with?
So that's a series of questions, and honestly, I have addressed all these questions in my YouTube videos. So if you really want to go out and look at every single answer, whether that is passive versus active income, passive versus active real estate, I have done a lot of tweets on this matter as well. And then why real estate and why starting a business and all that. I think everything has a reason. So when I was at the peak of my career in operation management, I have gone through around the globe and set up facilities in countries from Europe, Americas, Latin America, South America, China, Middle East. I've done all those things. So after that, I said, what? I want to really do something my own where I could really add the value of my engineering and operation skills into whatever I'm going to present to the world. So I looked at 100 different businesses, kid you not, 100 different businesses, from from services to sales to product to all kind of things. And I found myself into this whole situation where I said, at this time in my life, I need a little bit a business which is less risky, and also it could be long term, sustainable, and I could add a value. So this is where I started doing real estate. Now in the real estate, there are different aspects. You could do, you can buy and fix it and up it and then sell it, or you can hold and rent it, or you can do all those things. So like I said, I have YouTube videos on that. For me, I didn't believe that I was, right fit for fixer upper. Fixer upper really is good income, but it is really not something which can take you to the next level.
Got it.
So I basically did do fixer upper. Fixer upper is always the first, it's getting into the market. So I did only 2 or 3 fixer upper.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Then I realized that, and then I also did real estate agency. I mean, honestly, I said, that's not for me. So I've done those things, but then I have quickly came to an understanding that I really need to utilize my skills. I really need to get some land and develop it and then, sell it. In this way, I'm using all of my skills, but I'm adding the value. It's value creation at each step. So, I was able to add far better value and get a better product out in the market much faster and more cost effectively. So I gave even my company name Value Max. So my slogan is maximize the dollar value. So whatever dollar you are going to spend anywhere, if you do spend with me, then you maximize your value. You increase your value of the dollar. You increase the value of your house if you're selling with me. You increase the value of your dollar if you're buying with me. And how we can get into it, but basically that's kind of what my value creation model is.
So in land development, there's so many different strategies with land. I'm in Texas. You mentioned before hopping on here, you're in Massachusetts, so two totally different climates. But in Texas, we've got lots of open land, and there's so many different plays from storage facilities to RV parks to mobile homes to building out subdivisions. But one of the other plays too is just developing raw land. So, dividing it into plots, getting the zoning right, getting permits from the city, getting, city electric and sewer out there, and making it improved. What was your strategy for land?
So you're right. A lot of people will actually buy a raw land. First of all, buying a raw land in Texas versus Massachusetts is totally two different games because Texas has a lot of land and you can just buy, and the towns and cities are a lot more collaborative with you because they want you to develop. Over here, it's other way around. They don't want you to develop because it's already, very thickly populated, and most of the time, especially if you're doing real residential, if you're doing residential, towns and cities don't like it because they believe it's more burden on the city because the kids have to go to school, and if you have 2 kids, it's going to be, easily, ten to $15,000 per year per kid, just from the town, not even from the state. And if you add the state, that's almost $30,000,
Yep.
per student. And if you have 2 kids, that's $60,000. There's no way you're gonna pay tax more than 15. So the state and the town has to pay every time somebody builds a house.
Yep.
So they're not too much into building, single family homes or even duplexes. And that's the reason it's very, very expensive. It's very difficult to find land. And then the cities and towns are very, very difficult, and the bylaws are, very tough, all that kind of stuff. But even then, I could have bought land and develop it. First of all, it is difficult. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
So opportunities are always there everywhere. I don't believe that there's no opportunity. There's always opportunity. If I want to move to Texas, I believe honestly that my life will be easier. But but that's a decision I have made. I've been living here.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the land I could develop and then just get rezone or repurpose or subdivide, and I don't have to even develop it, and I can sell it and make some money. But I believe that I'm creating value at every stage, and it's not easy to find the land. If I am adding only 20% value just by getting it approved, then I'm adding another 40% by developing it, then I'm adding another 60% by building it. Then why not do all that? So
Right.
again, my model has been doing all those aspects.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
So, as someone who's a builder, but you're also finding the deals yourself, but you
Right.
also have another career, which is engineering, where were you when you were starting out? Where were you finding the mentorship? Where were you finding the skills to learn how to be a builder? Were you self-taught? Were you part of a group that was, hey, we're going to raise money and raise capital and learn to be builders? How did you become a builder?
So that's another very good question. So I do not do any engineering for anybody anymore. I this is 100% I spend my 100% time as far as in the my own real estate development. I use the word development. That means buying, like buying raw land, getting it approved, developing it, and building it, and then selling it. Okay, so I do all those things myself. I use my applied engineering skills. I do not work for somebody as an operation management like I used to do. I don't
Sure.
do that. I do spend some time in, on philanthropy. That's my fun side of the things. I do that, but I don't really do any other way of making money. My way of making money, and even I do YouTube videos, I don't make any zero money from it. The only money I make is when I actually buy the land and develop it and sell it.
Now,
So now, when I started it, I
yeah.
kind of self-taught myself. I had a couple of people around me who actually have gone through the same path. They were engineers and they have gone into that. They didn't teach me anything. They wouldn't even actually. Everybody tried to tighten their chest
Yeah,
with
not teach
whatever
you
they
anything.
know. So I went to two people when I was starting it. I always had an entrepreneurial mind. I did try in 2001 to start, e-commerce business. It was very early days of bringing goods and services from China,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and in 2001, and I unfortunately September 11 hit. I lost everything I had, and
Hmm.
I couldn't afford to stick in that business. Even though
Yeah.
if I would have stuck in that business, would have been great, but I couldn't stick in that business. That's the
Sure.
reason this time when I started in 2015, I said, you know what? Actually, sorry, 2011. I told myself that I'm not going to do that kind of risky business. I'm going to do something which I can touch and feel.
Tangible.
So all I was able to get from the other people I was inspired by, that they said, hey, whatever you do, you will do fine. Go do it. but that's all I got. And a matter of fact, one person gave me that. The other person said, "Oh, you're too late." In 2011, he said, "Hey, you are already too late. You lost the good market. It's no point of going there." So I decided to put myself in, and that's the reason I do these YouTube videos and I teach people, because I don't want to be the same person. I want to be the person teaching others, because I believe whenever you teach, that's the best charity. When you teach others, and if you can change other people's life, God takes care of you. So,
A
so that's
hundred
kind
percent. I think your friend's advice was overly optimistic. That you'll maybe they knew you so well. They said, Rich is going to succeed in anything he does." But
of,
I think in the real estate space, you talk about building out subdivisions. It's risky business, as you know, because
yeah,
now you have holding costs. Unless you're using
yeah,
all your own capital, which sometimes you may, but typically you have some type of financing source or a loan or private money, and these people are waiting on their return, or you have deadlines coming up, and then if you're not selling all the properties when you think you need to sell them by, now you need a bridge loan, and so you have to
Yeah.
be constantly hitting these deadlines. And then on top of that, even if you bought the deal at the absolute right price, black swan events do happen, like with COVID, right? In which case, who was uh, doing a lot of development right in the middle of COVID? It was probably trickier. So these things do happen. And so as you were embarking on this new journey, there was also a lot of risk. I'm curious, Rich, what has been your approach to managing risk, and do you think that there's a one-size-fits-all strategy when it comes to land? And I say that because when I'm doing single-family home fix and flips, wholesalers will often say if you can get a deal at 70% of ARV minus the repairs, that it's a good deal. Well, are there any similar formulas for land?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Well, there are definitely formulas, and none of those formulas are any, I would say, hard yardsticks. Everything, in my opinion, has to be looked at, and it all depends on your risk assessment at that time. So I think you gotta be innovative, and you gotta really see your risk averse, how risk averse you are, and what is your personal situation. When I say personal, your personal mean your company, your banking relationship, and all those things. And I think that changed with the time. Again, if you have lots of deals coming, see, where I am in Massachusetts, you don't have a lot of, land deal comes your way. So instead of just keep doing the land deals, I actually have a cascade where I have certain deals at a different stage.
Hmm.
So I do have in my YouTube videos, I have explained some of the formulas for people. But I think for the sake of time here, I would say the formulas are out there. Everybody has the formulas. It really all depends on your personal situation.
I want to pivot and ask you about no one has a crystal ball here. I don't want to get too far down a rabbit hole, but I lived in Boston, Massachusetts for about 6 years. I'm from northern New Jersey, and now I
Yeah.
live in northern Dallas in a town called Denton. I say this to people, I'm closer to Oklahoma than I am to Dallas, but we still consider ourselves Dallas. Go figure. But when I lived in the East Coast, northern New Jersey, and then Boston, and honestly, what stops me from moving back is I know just how expensive real estate is. And as
Mhm.
someone who's involved in the single family home space, as a realtor, as a wholesaler, and as an inspiring and aspiring investor, I'm thinking, well, I already know it's not easy to crack in over here. It's got to be harder to crack in over there. Do you feel like because of the price of real estate and because of uh, uh, where we're at with how difficult it is to get financing, that it is, more challenging to be a real estate investor in the East Coast unless you've got, tons of capital? Or is it, there's a spot for everybody?
No, I would say it's a lot harder here in East Coast than even in Florida or Texas,
Yeah.
for sure. It's not even a doubt. Why I say that? Because I talk to some people, and I know how towns and cities treat you. I actually have a friend who came to visit me from Texas, and he was telling me things. We will never have those type of things here. And the other thing is, you don't even have to deal with a lot of time with conservation. You don't have to deal with, frost protection and all those type of things. I don't even know if you even know what I'm talking about.
No
So,
idea.
oh, so frost protection is, for example, over here, you have to dig more than 4 feet because we have freezing temperatures here. So if we have to build a house, we cannot build on a slab. Like we have to do like half the basement anyway required. But then that's the reason we end up building a whole basement, because you are digging minimum 4 feet anyway. So you said you might as well dig 8 feet. And then that's the reason in Northeast you see a lot of homes, a lot of buildings have basements, because you need to have a frost protection and then you need to insulate. There's a totally different ball game building buildings in East Coast versus on Texas or anywhere in South. Go ahead.
From an engineering perspective, what's the reason this frost protection? Is it so the concrete doesn't expand or something? What's the reason for
No,
this?
no, no. Because if you have, because the water seep and it goes through, the frost will will go through and go all the way to 4 feet. Beyond 4 feet, frost does not go. So just think about it. If your concrete has a frost, then of course it will, it's contract and expand and it will crack and it will leak.
So then that's why they've got to dig deep. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
out here in Texas, I'm sure you've
You don't have to
seen this
deal with it.
before. We don't. There's hardly any. I've honestly can
Yeah.
say I've never. I've seen one basement in San Antonio, but I have hardly ever seen basements. And the homes will be on pier and beam, which when you're
Correct.
looking at it, when you're from the East Coast and you see these homes that are on pier and beam, and sometimes, Rich, you'll see these homes that are on pier and beam, but it's like shoddy and they've got cinder blocks underneath the home, and you're thinking, wow, I haven't seen that before, but all over the place, it really is a stark contrast to what I grew
Mhm.
up with on the East Coast, where every home, to your point, has a basement. And that
Yeah.
basement, like it's not, it's, an extensive, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of capital in
Yeah.
order to get the digging done, in order to install the basement. So it kind of does make sense that if you're going to dig 4 feet deep, you might as well dig eight. You mentioned a couple fix and flips when you were just starting out. I'm curious, did any of those fix and flips have foundation issues?
Very good question. Absolutely. Absolutely. With one of my fix and flip, the biggest problem was that I tried every single thing in the book and I could not stop water leakage to the basement.
Hmm.
So so there's a lot more. Honestly, we will be spending a whole show, and maybe we should do another show if we're going to talk about, frost protection and water leakage to the basement and what are the different ways. But I mean, that was one of my, I mean, I would say still that taught me a lot of lessons. And oh,
Yeah.
bear in mind, I did end up making money. I didn't lose money, but I couldn't sell the house right away. I actually
Oh,
put it
oh.
on rent. I put it on the rent for 5 years. And that's the reason I'm saying, you should be ready as a backup to hold and rent
Yeah.
if you cannot. Yes.
You
So,
have to.
so that's what I did. And then I ended up making actually money on it because I was able to solve the problem and the market changed a little bit too. And better matter of fact, I made money in the renting too. So
Very
it
nice.
was a good lesson, and but at the end of the day, I sold and I was happy.
So we have four big markets out here in Texas. Of course, Dallas, DFW, Dallas Fort Worth. You've got Austin, you've got Houston, you've got San Antonio. And of these four cities, you would think while they're four major cities in the same state, they should all kind of keep around the same pricing. But Houston has by far lower pricing than the other three. Not even close. And I've even looked online. I'm like, how is this even possible, right? But it's because Houston has so many more issues with, being near or below sea level with the flooding. Homes are harder to insure. And that just creates a litany of, downstream effects, which makes it so that less desirable area to be a landlord because you might have long terms of vacancy if it's flooded, which means that the rents are not going to be as much, which means you're not able to get as much for the home. And so honestly, to people who are looking at investing in areas, one of the more interesting places to invest in this area is Houston because of some of those unusual issues.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it just I think it depends on supply demand, but also I don't know, but I maybe. Houston, I don't know that market that much, honestly, but it
Sure.
seems to me that the labor availability could be more because they are closer to the border and whatnot, and the labor could be cheaper. Material
Yep.
price is about the same, and then also it's the land value. So I think it's the labor and the land value. That's what I can understand sitting here, but I am not certain what are the other factors. It definitely are the factors, and one of that could be supply demand. Also, yeah, depending on where you know different companies are out there, and more people go in certain area, and the supply demand situation is different. So
Yep.
I would say it's supply demand, labor cost,
To your
and
point,
uh,
that's the
and the
biggest
land
port.
cost.
That's the biggest port in Texas, right? So you have the port of
Yeah.
Houston. So I was looking at getting a modular home from overseas, actually. So I was saying, is this real? Can I really? And people have been trying to dissuade me from doing it. They said, don't get a modular home from overseas. Are you crazy? I said, I'm looking at doing it, but it would come in through the port of Houston and then shipped up to Dallas. So an interesting play if I end up doing a land deal. But we are coming up on time here, Rich. Where can
Mhm.
folks go maybe to get a hold of you or to reach out to you or to learn more about what you got going on?
Well, there's a lot to discuss. First of all, I would say that if you just want to learn from my experience, I am absolutely out there on the YouTube. This is one of my life mantra that I like to teach people, especially youngsters. Even though I'm a 19-year-old, but if somebody's younger than me who want to learn, more on real estate, then I encourage them to visit my YouTube channel. And by the way, it's 100% free, no commitment. It's different topics. So there are two YouTube channels what I have. One is Rich VMAX slash YouTube, and the other one is Zindagi TV. So it's Rashid Sheikh, my full name, Rashid, Rashid Sheikh, Shaikh, dash Zindgi TV. Zindagi mean life. So Rashid Sheikh, Zindagi TV, or if you just Google my name, Rashid Sheikh, you will find a couple of YouTube channels. And I think there's a lot of good material out there. And I promise you, Dylan, that I'm going to send you a couple of those too. And maybe we'll do more podcasts. I've been approached by several, podcasters as well. That is really, I really love and enjoy teaching others and, propagating the knowledge. That I think that's the best legacy anybody can leave. So the other thing is that honestly, I'm also now building senior livings and assisted livings because I believe that's very much in demand. It's going to be more demand because our senior population is increasing, and that's going to be needed anywhere and everywhere in the world, not just in whether that is China or U.S. or any big economies going to need these type of housing and livings. And then if you want to build home with me, I do luxury homes. I have a subdivision which I only 14 houses subdivision. As a matter of fact, while talking to you, I got two calls. People want to come see right now. I said, well, half an hour, not right now. But so I have two showings right now, and I do custom homes, mostly in this area, 1.5 to 2 plus 5, $2.5 million homes. So that's kind of different ways. But again, I have a website, VMAX. It's Value Max. My company name is Value Max. And why I name Value Max is because I maximize your value. So if you work with me, I maximize your value, whether that is your house value or your dollar value. So if you want to really learn how to improve your home, what are the steps to even improve your kitchen, your baths, your floors, all free in my YouTube videos. But if you really need one-on-one discussion, or if you really want to build something with me, then basically you can also go on my website, vmax-realty, REALTY, realty.com, or you can reach me on Twitter at richvmax, at richvmax.
Rich,
So
it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. It was great connecting with you. Thank you
thank you.
so much for coming on.
Thank you. You have a great personality. I'd love to stay connected. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.